Is there a way I can come with you guys this time?
Absolutely not. I forbid it. Not gonna happen. Sorry, sweetie. Spring break is no place for young, vulnerable goth girls. You know, the kind of freaks up there who drool all over you.
What? Fine, I was looking at Charlie. Could you not tell Vaggie or Alastor? Please? Hey, Vaggie. How's it going? It wasn't going well. What's going on, everybody? Here today I'm going to be doing a review of 10 characters from Hazbin Hotel and Helluva. And I will be ranking each of them based off of my own opinion of their characters so far, using a letter system from S to F. Meaning if I like them and I think they're well developed, they get an S. If they're the exact opposite, then they get an F. Now this is all just my personal opinion, so if you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments below. But you're also probably wondering why I'm only sticking with 10. Well, some characters are a bit, they just look.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what happens when I'm lonely, Blitzy?
God fucking damn it.
When I'm lonely, I become hungry. And when I become hungry, I want to choke on that red of yours. Your and lick all of your before taking out your and with more teeth until you're screaming.
Sorry that shirt didn't feel clean anymore. Let's just get started.
Your turn. Very good. Go ahead now. Good golly. Bring it around now. Ladies.
So let's start off with Nifty. She's there, and then she's not there. What I mean is, she's only on screen for about a minute, so we barely get to see much of her. But from what we do see, I suppose she really enjoys cleaning, has high amounts of energy, and will most likely kill us all in our sleep. But from what we did see of her in the episode, she was okay. Not really much time for any kind of character development, but it is just a pilot after all, so maybe we'll see more of her in future episodes. But for only seeing her for a whole minute on screen, I give Nifty an F. Nothing personal, Nifty, we just don't know you very well. Having said that, let's move on to Husk. Now, Husk was in the pilot episode as well, for a bit longer than Nifty, but not by a whole lot. And from what we see of him, we know that he likes gambling, drinking, and he doesn't like Alastor. Probably because he took all of his money away that he was about to win. Well, in a sense at least. And apparently, he also lost the ability to love. I'm assuming that will be relevant later, but just like Nifty, we don't learn a whole lot about him in the pilot episode. Maybe it's being saved for future episodes. And Husk as a character was alright, but I never quite cared for his personality. Just never quite took a liking to his grouchy demeanor. Kind of like he's just fed up with everything, which I suppose is understandable. But it is inexcusable! So, while not being my favorite character, I also think Husk did fine, so therefore I will give him a D. Let's switch things up. Over at Helluva, we have Blitz. The O is silent. Why is the O silent, you may ask? Well, for a guy who has lines like this...
That's it! If you're gonna be shitty to my employees, then I challenge you to a fucking challenge.
Is surprisingly one of their more developed and complex characters. His past is mainly built upon regret and anger, which has led him to the life he lives now, trying to belong and find a family of his own. At least that's what I assume based on how often he spies on Moxxie and Millie, and why he adopted Loona. But after some failed attempts at the circus, he would later open up IMP.
When you want somebody gone and you don't even know which
too long, call the immediate murder professionals. Hand grenade or cyanide will make it look like suicide. The immediate murder professionals.
Basically, they get paid to kill people still in the mortal world. Would you hire them? I know I would. Their success rate is once in a while. And with Blitz as their boss, they are always guaranteed for success. Barely. A lot. In the most insane way possible. Okay, you get the idea. With him being one hell of a boss, I give you an A. Moving on to an employee and wife of Moxxie, we have Millie. How would I describe Millie? I think the song sums it up pretty well.
She's the queen. It's like a dream. When I hear her film start to scream. In and out of the sack, she's the maniac for me. Oh, Millie. When the blood starts dripping down the walls, and the bodies start to fall, my heart skips a beat. When my Millie's guns are blazing in the heat. My assassin love, she makes the murdering fun for me. A-la-da-dee. Of all the imps in hell, it's for her that I fell. Oh, Millie.
So do not let her small size fool you. She is the angel of death. You know what she did in episode 3 of Helluva Boss? She killed a sea monster 100, 500, 1,000 times her size? I don't know. She killed it with a knife in her bare hands. And I wouldn't be surprised if she got the bare hands from an actual bear. But aside from her terrifying track record of murder and death, she's actually a very loyal employee and wife to Moxxie. And while she typically has a pretty upbeat personality, she doesn't take kindly to anyone making fun of Moxxie. Oh, and just a warning, under no circumstances ever say Lululand.
Lululand!
Ah! By the way, I changed the lights back. What do you think? Ah! So with Millie being the adorable, bloodthirsty killer that she is, I would rank her as an A. Moving on to her husband, Lord Chaos, Moxxie, you know what? No, pause video. Is that the voice actor of Chaos? If not, doesn't it sound just like him? Let's do a side-by-side comparison. Moxxie?
I don't need any reminding, sir, considering you blew most of our salaries on an obnoxious TV ad last week. One that you then additionally paid to have run for a full 3 hours on a channel nobody watches.
Chaos.
It's secrets. Soon the Iron Fist of Arcus will be mine, and I will be the ruler of all Skylands.
But what do I think of Moxxie as a character? Well, he's sort of a contrast to his wife. Whereas I'm assuming she'll kill just about anything, Moxxie has some morals he likes to follow. Of course, that's not to say Moxxie isn't good at his job. He is. But he's also the kind of guy who tends to cause some trouble. Like when he accidentally shot a kid, who luckily turned out to be the actual target. Or when he caught the office on fire, which I'm assuming he got to rebuild later. Of course, he makes up for this in the fact that he always seems to come prepared. As shown in episode 4 of Helluva Boss, he was packing all sorts of weapons. Guns, knives, probably grenades in there somewhere. He had everything you could need. He also tends to complain, which is justified considering how annoying his boss can be, but it still comes off as rather annoying at times. So with that in mind, I give Moxxie a C. Now moving on to the adopted child and the 4th member of IMP, Loona. Now, Loona is sort of that goth, angsty teenager, which I know sounds a bit generic, but she's actually written pretty well. Which is a little hard to believe considering she acts very annoyed, a lot, and constantly acts like she doesn't care, a lot. But I think there's more to her than that. As it was shown in episode 3, she almost referred to Blitz as dad, which leads me to believe that she really does care about him and her co-workers, but just tries not to show it. And while Blitz isn't really her dad, but rather her adopted one, he really does try and care for her, but that caring more often than not comes off as babying, which I can understand would be rather annoying. Also, you know he's not a great dad when her present was a box full of spiders. But aside from all that, she does get quite a few laughs. Just take a look.
Fridge, I'm taking it because I have the worst hangover right now. Why would you drink on a work night? I'm hungover from this morning, dumbass.
Isn't that my lunch?
You know what? I can't take this assault right now. I need to blow off some fucking steam. Ah!
I give Loona a B+, because she was not scared of those spiders. But anyways, speaking of spiders, let's move back over to Hazbin Hotel, because up next we have Angel Dust. And yes, that is a guy. Many people have mistaken him for a female, but no, that is a guy. But to be fair, I mixed him up all the time, so if you're one of those people, don't feel bad. Now, Angel Dust is kind of meant to be the show's gay character, which in today's media can be messed up so easily. By making that their entire personality, of course. Oh, no. They do not make that mistake. Just by God, this guy is so much fun whenever he is on screen. He's got the guns, he's got the jokes, he's just one of the best. But I did notice, he's even better whenever he's teamed up with Cherry Bomb, which isn't for a lot, but it's still quite enjoyable. Now don't get me wrong, he's still fine with the main cast of Charlie, Vaggie, and all that, but in my opinion, they don't hold a candle to what Cherry Bomb and Angel Dust have. Why can't they have their own show? Just call it Angel Bomb. I grant Angel Dust the rank of A-, because you are a spider. And now we have Vaggie, best friend and lover of Charlie. I think. Nope, still not very clear. But what is Vaggie like as a character? Well, remember how I said Millie was basically the angel of death? Well, Vaggie's kind of like that, but replaced the killing with pure anger. Oh, and yelling, and spears, and pulling out her hair, and you get the idea. I also believe that Vaggie is supposed to be Charlie's bodyguard, or at the very least she definitely acts like one, as she can get very defensive at times. She also has a tendency to lie. There was nothing highlighted on that paper, and she knows it. Also, to my surprise, it turns out she seems to be quite a fan of music, consisting of punk rock, 80s, and Latino. I also really enjoyed how subtle her and Charlie's relationship was. It could have been so easy to mishandle that. So for that, I grant Vaggie the rank of A. And now we move on to our most ironic character of the show, Charlie. She's the Princess of Hell. Which is what makes it so odd that her whole motivation is to reform sinners. Her idea to help people was to open up a hotel, but unfortunately it turned out to be very unsuccessful as people did not want to change. But of course, Charlie's going up against the mentality of, I'm already in hell, so why should I change? But regardless of that, she never seems to give up on her dream. But would I change anything about her? No, of course not. What, are you insane? In my opinion, she's the cutest animated character ever. Even more so than Ariel. You know who you are. Plus, look at how well she can translate into real life.
Every demon is a rainbow. Inside every sinner is a shiny smile. Inside of every crazy hatchet-wielding maniac is the jolly, happy, cupcake-loving child.
But besides that, despite all the negativity she tends to get from her people, she really does genuinely care about them, and hates the yearly extermination, which wipes out tons of them. It's a vicious cycle, but it's one we have to live with for now, so for that I give Charlie an S. And now, saving the best for last in my opinion, the man who needs no introduction, so let's give him one anyways.
I got a game I want to show you. If I tell you my name, you'll have to play too. I've been here for years, biding my time, waiting in prime. Until I could find you to sign on the line and we can be friends. I'll be here for you until your world ends. Enjoy all your toys I will supply. You only live once, and you'll be mine the day you die. I'll have my payment, your eternal soul's enslavement. Did you divine our dark arrangement? You were lovely entertainment. The dark desires you've been serving. You can bet that you're deserving. No regret for who you're hurting. Why it's almost like you're flirting.
Now, why do I consider Alastor to be one of the best? Well, it's just because of how well I think he's written, and how subtle he can be at times. What I'm talking about is, he showed up to the hotel and said he wanted to help out because he was bored. But based on how he behaves, you can clearly tell he's up to something else. We don't exactly know what yet, but the hints are there. Now, why is this guy a threat at all? Well, as the story goes, Alastor was a mortal soul that manifested in hell overnight, and began to topple overlords that had been dominant for centuries, which is power that had never been seen before by a mortal soul. Plus, Alastor is just the master of intimidation. I'm guessing he could be face to face with Lucifer himself, and fear would never cross his face. That's not to say there aren't beings more powerful than him. There are. But regardless, he will never allow him to express fear around them. And at the same time, I'm sure he's smart enough to know when not to fight. So I rank Alastor as and S. But what do you think? If you agree or disagree with me on any of my rankings, let me know in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more content.